Thank you, Shita. I would like to open this meeting officially and welcome our members and so many participants. This is going to be an exciting meeting, and I want to thank particularly Christian that he's made himself available at such short notice for this absolutely fascinating subject. I will not say much because I think it is going to be so interesting what we are going to hear and learn today. So and all of you know Christian. I don't think he needs a special introduction, and it's all yours now, Christian. We're looking forward to a wonderful, exciting presentation. Thank you.
That's terrific. Okay, well, thanks very much. So we're going to just jump right into it. So today we're going to be talking about ChatGPT. So it's a pretty new topic. It only came out in November of last year, and now it's in the news every day. So it's a good thing we're doing it now because there'll be a lot more to say in a month or 2 months or whenever. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to give you, I'm going to show you some slides, and then we're going to do it in real life. We're going to actually use ChatGPT today. And so let's just get started. Okay, so we'll start like this, Okay, so here, some slides. I hope you can see that we have a slide called A Conversation with ChatGPT. Good? Yeah?
Yes.
Good. Okay, thanks. So first thing is, why did we call it a conversation with ChatGPT and not a conversation about ChatGPT? Well, it's because we're going to chat with the artificial intelligence chatbot called ChatGPT. We're actually going to talk with it, and that's how you use it. So rather than me talking about it, we're going to talk to it, and it's going to talk back. All right. So one of the things that makes it so special is this interactive aspect to it, which is quite different than you might naturally think that maybe it's something like Google. Well, we're going to see about that, and we're going to see how different it can be. So what are we going to talk about today? Good to know what we're talking about. We're talking about ChatGPT, which is it's just one of the artificial intelligence things out there, but it's the big one. So we're going to talk about that today. So what is it? How you can use it, and how other people are using it. And we're going to show you about other people using it because I want you to get some ideas, because sometimes it's sort of hard to think, what are you going to do with it? It sort of reminds me of when computers first came out and people didn't know what to do with them. They think, well, I guess I could store recipes, you know? So you need a little boost, and today's class is the boost. So before we go too far, let's talk about we know what chat means, but what does GPT mean? Well, G stands for generative. The other letters are important too, but the most important one is the G, because what ChatGPT does is it generates responses for you. It knows a lot of things, and it synthesizes all of that and makes an answer for you based on all these other things that it knows. So it's sort of like talking to a person. A person has experiences, they have knowledge, and they give you not a canned answer when you talk to them, but something that draws upon everything they know. So that's what the G is for. And even if you forget about the P and the T, the G is the key, that it's generating an answer for you. The P is for pre-trained, because this isn't some sort of weird, I don't know, some mind-reading robot. It's been trained on a lot of information, including a lot of what's on the internet, including the NMUG website, including my website, including other websites that talk about Macs, but other sources of information as well. And that's the training. It takes a while. It has to suck in all this information and then just sort of store it and know where it is. The T is for transformer, which has to do with the way that the information is sort of chopped up and analyzed. But just remember the G, okay? That your answers are generated, That's the difference here. The big difference with ChatGPT is that you're getting information that's generated for you right at that time. It's not canned. So what is it really? Well, why don't we ask? We'll ask Wikipedia. This is what it looks like. It's a web page here, but we're going to look at that more. But according to Wikipedia, here's your answer. Now, go ahead and read this. It probably doesn't help at all. Okay, so that's why the class is here. So the company that makes this thing is called OpenAI. OpenAI turned the ChatGPT loose to the public in November last year. Here we are only 6 months later. Depending on how you come into the program, it might be using something called GPT-3. It might be GPT 3.5. It might be GPT-4. No matter what it is, they're all based on gobs of information. That's why they call them large language models. It means that they suck in lots and lots of text. Okay, and this is a text-based system. It's similar to typing in a request with Google. You type something in, it gives you something back as text. Well, that's where the similarity kind of ends, because now that I tell you that it's artificial intelligence, is it like Siri? Well, it's not like Siri, not really. Siri, you can ask Siri to do things for you, like set a timer for half an hour, or wake me up at 6 a.m., or add bananas to my groceries list. You can do those things, and Siri interacts with apps on your phone or on your Mac and does those things, actually takes action. OpenAI cannot yet do that. So you can't ask it to put an appointment on your calendar for every Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. You can't do that. It doesn't have the connection to your system. So in that regard, it's not like Siri. Is it like Google? No, it's really not like Google, because Google, you ask Google something and it provides you a list of websites where Google thinks the answer might be. And then you have to go check, and then you come back, and then you go check another site and you come back. And it's certainly not providing you the actual answer that you want. It's just providing you a list of places where the answer might be. So all of a sudden it makes Google, which previously looked pretty powerful, it looks pretty weak. So since we know that it's not like Siri, and we know it's not like Google, it must be like something. So why don't we ask ChatGPT itself what it's like? So here's what we're going to do. Now, in order to ask ChatGPT a question, you have to have a ChatGPT account. So we're going to be delayed just a minute while we walk through the steps of getting an account. So the pictures I have here on the screen right now are, these are iPhone pictures, but I'm going to work on the Mac because it's going to be bigger so you can see things better. But the main thing you do with ChatGPT is to know that it's a website. And so you need to go to chat.openai.com. So there's a dot there, chat.openai.com. When you go, you'll see a screen like you see here, whether you're on a Mac or an iPhone or an iPad. And if you don't have an account, you'll click the button that says sign up. You'll have to put in an email address. You'll make up a password. Remember, a new password, not some password that you use for other things. And you have to answer a couple of questions. You have to tell them how old you are and one or two other questions, but then you're done. I think they'll send you an email to verify that email address is really one that you control. But after that, what you'll do is you'll be going to this web page, same web page. You'll be hitting log in, signing in, and generally speaking, you'll just log straight in. At times, you'll need to tell it that you're not a robot, which is kind of funny. But anyway, you have to check little boxes. I'm not a robot. Okay, so you don't need to do this right now. You can if you want. I would recommend that you don't do it right now so you can sit back and enjoy the talk here. But definitely when we're done, you're going to want to go to chat.openai.com and do it. And notice it's free. And when you do sign up, you get a few little screens. And the first thing it says is, this is a free research preview. Okay. So they're showing it to us so that we can help make it better. So if an answer isn't good, if they seem to misinterpret your question, you can tell them not good. It's a simple thumbs up, thumbs down kind of system. You could also add comments, but that's what this is, and it's free. So I'm going to say that a bunch of times because I don't want you to pay for things that you don't need to pay for. Now they do have some warnings. It's possible that they could give you bad advice. So you can't take the answers here as stuff you want to necessarily make decisions about, like, is it a good time to sell my house? You know, don't let them excuse me, don't let them make excuse me one more time, don't let them decide, make decisions for you. So just be careful there. Also, they do collect a little bit of data, and it would be a big mistake for you to share personal information with ChatGPT. Like, you shouldn't write something like, here's my favorite password, and tell ChatGPT. You don't want to do that. So, common sense here. And they do want feedback, so that's that. And when you're finally through those first few screens, which we only see them when you're setting up the account, you will then get to a place where down at the bottom, there'll be a box that says send a message. This is where you do your work. This is where you type things in. They remind you of some of the things I just said, and that's it. So why don't we, we'll go look at that in a minute, but the main thing is you don't have to pay for this. So we had a good question, I think, from Mitch this morning before the class about which apps are the good apps. It turns out you really don't need an app. This is just a web page. You can do it with Safari or Chrome or Firefox on your Mac, your iPhone, your iPad. I've seen apps on the App Store for the iPhone that say, they call themselves ChatGPT, and they have a weekly fee. I can't see why. They can't be providing any additional service that you don't get right here from the native experience. So don't pay. Okay. So now we're going to ask ChatGPT what it is. So this handout, this is sort of a magic handout because it's got links in it. So I'm going to click this link, and this will give me a web page, and here it is. And this took me straight to ChatGPT, which it would do for you too. All right, so we'll ignore this stuff on the left right now because I want to get down to the question of asking ChatGPT, what are you? So I'm going to ask, what are you? I hit return, and hopefully we'll get an answer. Here we go. Okay, so there's our answer. And now, since I don't know what they mean by machine learning algorithms, I'm going to ask them, what do you mean by machine learning algorithms? And they're going to give us an answer, allegedly. I know it's coming. Apparently I asked them a pretty good question. Here we go. Apparently they're thinking a little harder today than they were yesterday. This was faster before. Okay. I hope we're not going to be slowed down this much the whole way, but we'll just see. Okay, so here you go. So they tell us what this is about, and that improve their performance over time. And oh, there's more to come here.
Christian, while we're waiting,
Yes.
who created ChatGPT?
Well, I'm not sure who actually created it, but I know that Elon Musk funded it, at least part of it. I think he paid for part of the company. I don't think he's associated with it anymore, but he was. So that's a good question. If anyone knows more about that, apparently we have time to talk about it. Okay, here we go.
I thought I also heard that Microsoft was involved.
Well, I know Microsoft is using some OpenAI stuff, and we'll get to that toward the end of the class. But I don't know that they were involved in the creation of it.
Okay.
Okay, so one of the problems with a free service is that you get what you pay for sometimes, and that's not great performance. We're not high priority. So I may do something to make this go a little faster, but in the meantime, you can see the way the ChatGPT interface works. On the left-hand side, we have chats. These are chats. These are times that I've come in and started with a new question. So typically what you do is you start out with one question, and then you realize that you've kind of meandered somewhere, and you decide you want to have a whole new topic. And this is when you would say new chat. So it just in the same way that you might sort of change topics. When you think about changing topics, you would think about changing chats. You would have a new chat. One of the interesting things about it is that it remembers your past chats. So you can go back and refer to things, and it also remembers your past chats so that you can refer to things that you asked about earlier, and it will know what you're talking about. So this makes it very powerful if you can be a little organized and make new chats when you need a new chat. Okay. So finally, we've got an answer here. I was hoping this would be much faster. It was much faster yesterday. So, we're asking questions of the same computer as the whole world. So this is why it's like it is. It's a good answer. It's a good answer. It just took a while.
Christian.
Yes.
Please don't do that.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Put the question in the chat, then we'll get to it, I hope. Okay, so here we finally got our answer. It's a pretty good answer. It was created for me, because I asked this question. I asked, what do you mean by machine learning algorithms? And they told me a little bit about it. I could ask it more, but I'm really more interested in asking more questions about what ChatGPT is. So I'm going to ask, how current is your information? Okay, this is more like it. This is the kind of speed I need. So you can see here that one limitation of ChatGPT is it's not really up to date. The chunk of data that they trained it on, remember the T the P is pre-trained, that chunk of data was sort of frozen as of September 2021, and it took them about a year to get it all trained. That's why that comes out in November of 2022. So I would expect that one day we'll be up to date. But if I were to ask it about the current banking crisis, it doesn't know about the current banking crisis. It knows what would be a sort of a generic banking crisis, but it wouldn't know this one. Okay, and so I'm going to ask it, since people are going to ask you which version of ChatGPT are you using, I'm going to ask Chat GPT 3, 4, or 5, or 6? And he's going to tell me, I think we're going to see 3, allegedly. Okay. Oh, how interesting. Let's. This is what I was looking for, based on version. Yeah, we know. Version 3 points. Come on, tell me. Well, we'll see the answer in a minute. So the point is, though, that it's kind of self-aware here, so you can ask it questions and follow up like I've done. So this is the chat part, okay? And here we go, GPT 3.5. Okay. Now I told you that you don't need to pay for this, and I might change my mind because I want it to go faster. So I'm going to try something here. I do have there is an app called MacGPT, which basically ties into ChatGPT. And here it is. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if it's faster when I use. Let's hide that. When I use MacGPT, let's just see what happens. Because if it's faster, we'll use this. And so here I go. I'm going to ask the same question. What is ChatGPT? And this is something, yeah, it's a little faster. Okay, so I think we're going to go this way. Let's see if we can do this. Make this big. If I can, let's see. I don't think I can make this big enough for us to. Oh, wait, now this will be good. Let's try one more time here. Can I make this bigger? Wasn't planning on trouble here, so I have to kind of figure this out on the fly. Well, let's see if we can keep going in the normal way. Okay, let's see some examples of ChatGPT in action. And if I need to resort to my paid version, that's what I'll do. Okay, so what sort of things could you ask it? I mean, we're used to doing Google searches. This is different. So one example is I'm going to say, help me plan a trip to Naples, Florida. Okay, we're actually going to do that. I've already done it. So this is an answer that they gave me. So since you're all, well, many of you are Naples experts, I'm going to see what you think of what they asked. I'm going to show you how to write a press release about water conservation. I'm going to show you about what they say when I ask for social media posts. And I'm going to show you, oh, here's something that might happen. Let's say you had to give a class about ChatGPT and you needed an outline, you needed structure for your class, and you weren't sure where to start. You could ask ChatGPT to do that for you. I'm asking for a friend. I wouldn't do this. And then you could also, here it is, and I could ask for some meal suggestions based on what you have on hand. So let's do some of these and let's see how it works. So I'll come back here to Safari, make myself a new page. I got to get back to ChatGPT. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to ask it that first question. I'm going to say, help me plan a 3-day trip to Naples, Florida. I'm going to say I'm coming in on a Friday afternoon, leaving on a Monday afternoon. Okay. And I'm going to tell it the things that I care about are historical sites, local cuisine, natural scenery, and say architecture, and local, just local flavor, music, art. Okay, so I hit return here, and ChatGPT is going to make a help me make this trip. Okay, they've given me a suggested itinerary here. Now I want you to, those of you who are actually in Naples, to give this a once over, and hopefully you think this is good work by them. Now, I would never have been able to put this together in 2 minutes by going to Google and asking about different places to go. So now this looks interesting. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask it to make it easier for me to read. I'm going to say, whoops, let me see, put it down here. I'm going to say, could you please, you don't have to say please, but you can see Mama raised me right. So I say please, make all of the attractions listed in the itinerary bold so it's easier to read. Okay. Whoops, something happened. Wait a minute. It's not supposed to get that web page. Here it goes. All right, so we're going to make it bold so I can read it. Okay, here we go. And they're very, very friendly here. They say sure or no problem. It's nice. Okay, so let's see if they make things bold like I asked. Okay, the hotel doesn't get bold, but okay, we'll see what's next. There you go. So this is going to be a nicer thing for me to work with because it's going to be prettier. Now, when it's done, I'm going to scroll up here so you can see something else that's already done. This button here, this is a copy button. This means put it on the clipboard. Okay. This button here means that you like the kind of answer you got. And this would be that you thought there was something wrong with the answer. So when I copy it, I'll have something better to copy because it's just prettier. You see how it's working here. So now I can pick these things out, and it would be interesting to know. Maybe someone will put it in the chat whether that's that this sounds like a good itinerary for a 3-day trip to Naples. Okay, so I don't think these are sponsored. I don't think they are. Someone asked if they're sponsored. Is that why they got into this list? I don't know, but they're sending me to restaurants. I'm glad they are because, I don't want to have to rely on Yelp or something like that. See, this is all in one place. One place to go and get your whole answer. All right, so I showed you while I was hoping to go a little faster, I showed you something called MacGPT. That is also an app that you can get. It's shareware. You can pay what you want to pay for it. And it gives you access to ChatGPT in the menu bar up here. Okay. And now I'm going to use this. Because this is something I did pay for, and I think it might be faster. So I'm just going to try I'm going to do a little experiment and see if it's faster. The idea is the same whether you're in the web page or in this app. So I'm going to ask it to make me a 3-day itinerary for a trip to Naples, Florida. And let's see if it just goes faster. Yeah, it's faster. Okay, so I'm gonna work. It's a little small. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but we'll see. But you can see how well this is going. They're making it bold for me. ChatGPT has like it doesn't get tired, right? You just keep asking it to do things and it keeps doing them. Whereas if you were asking a person to do this, even if you had a really good assistant and you asked them to make you the itinerary and then you asked them to make it bold, you kind of wouldn't ask it anything else after that because you feel like you're kind of getting nitpicky. But ChatGPT doesn't mind, right? You just keep asking it more and more. I could ask it to show me more, more gardens and less city stuff, and it would do it. Okay, so that's an example of using ChatGPT that you could do something like this yourself perfectly good. And if you get tired of this, you can certainly hit stop generating, but I think we're almost done. Well, I'm going to tell it to stop because we got to move on. Let's do the one with the press release. So I have a nephew who works for the city of Woodland, and he needs to write press releases. And so I made up a press release when I was teaching him how this could work. And so here's our press release. I'm going to say something like this: City of Woodland is saving 5,000 gallons of water a day, thanks to new low flow drinking fountains in city buildings and parks. Write a press release. And including how this is a part of the conservation efforts of the city. Cast the amount of water saved in terms of Olympic-sized swimming pools. Because no one knows how many gallons is 5,000 gallons. So I say this: they're going to write a press release for me. Now, there it goes. Now, I don't know if that's true. If 5,000 gallons of water doesn't, I'm not sure that is 1.5 swimming pools. But, oh, sorry, I get one wrong web page. All right. I had a couple of web pages queued up for us and they keep popping up. So we're going to have to go to them later. So here we've got this full press release. All my nephew needs to do is go talk to the mayor and ask him if this quote sounds pretty good. He can type in the mayor's name here, and there he goes. And then, change this. Now, how about if I say, let's say prepare the same press release in Spanish. Okay, so here it goes. Looky there. Okay, the amount of time that this would save a person is, I mean, you can figure it out. It's amazing. If you start with a blank piece of paper or blank Word document and you have to write this press release, it's going to take you a little while. If you can start with something that's already written and you can just edit it a bit, you're going to be done, with time to spare. And if you had to write it again in Spanish, you have to go find someone else to help you. You can certainly run this by somebody who knows how to read Spanish.
I absolutely would.
And how bad is it?
Right. And who's to say that is the information truthful?
Well, yes. So you still have to go through it and make sure it is truthful. In Spanish, I don't know if it's truthful, but you could certainly do things. They sort of guessed about this stuff, and so you would say, yeah, that sounds like us. And it's so general that it's probably all true. But this part I wondered about the pools. But to have something already prepared, and all you need to do is get out your red pen and mark it up. That's a huge time savings. Okay, so let's look at one of my other examples was social media posts. So suppose you work in real estate and you want to send out social media posts every single day, to Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and so on, every day, just sort of promoting yourself and the business. And so you say, I need to write, now I could say a month's worth. So I'm going to just put in weeks. Well, you know what? Write me 7 social media posts about real estate in Southern California. Okay, so I asked that, and they're going to write. Here come my my social media posts. So we're not talking about great literature here, but social media posts often aren't. We just need to get something out with a link so people can click and come back to your website. So I could say, all right, this is interesting, but make them all a little bit longer and focus on residential real estate. And so back and forth we go. This is the chat part, right? We're chatting. So now it's a little bit longer. So this takes a lot of the little drudgery away from making these posts. I mean, you don't have to take them all. You could cross them out. But remember, I could have asked for 100 of them, and they would have done it. Okay, I asked for 7, but that seems, you can see how easy it is. All right, so now let's see about that ChatGPT, the outline for the ChatGPT class. Let's say you were going to be teaching a class. I'm going to lead a class about ChatGPT. I'm going to say an introductory class. I need an outline for the class. The class should be about an hour long. Okay. And here we go. Now you can see that if you saw exactly what I'm doing today as this sort of robotically created thing, you'd say, aha, now I see how you did it. But I could do this and get some ideas. And this could save a person a lot of time. So now what I'm going to do is I've got this class going here, and I'm going to say, I'm going to ask it here, could you give me 3 specific examples of how people are using ChatGPT in their personal lives, and 3 more examples using about professional use. Okay.
So how could it answer that unless it was pulling back the information that, how would it answer that? How would it know?
How would it know what people are doing?
Yes.
Well, it's going to be general here. And you can see the kind of answers we're getting here that for personal use, it's helping with people who are writing. I mean, and you'll see, well, of course, I wrote a press release, so you saw that.
So wouldn't it have to actually be taking information from people who are using it with or without their knowledge?
Oh, well, it's with their knowledge, because you sign up. When you sign up, you say that they say they're collecting information, and so they know what questions you asked and what answers they provided. So yes, that's how they do it.
Okay.
I think there also may be more general things, like, of course, people use it with writing assistance. I think somebody asked about how you could tell that something was generated by ChatGPT, and I think there are some methods, but this is going to be an arms race where it's going to get better and better, and the tools for finding out whether it's computer generated are going to be they're going to have to improve too. It may never get done. I'm going to do one more thing here. So this is my talk here. Could you show suggested durations for the various sections of the talk? Okay. So I want to know, how long should the introduction be? How long should the examples be? Okay, so there you go. So you see, this is the chat part, right? I keep saying it, but I want you to get this, that you interact and you get better and better answers as you go. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So that takes care of that one. Now I'm going to do one more, which was about meals. So this is a pretty personal thing. I'm going to say, okay, in my pantry, I have the usual, I'll say rice, beans, flour, sugar. Also, I have a chicken. I have oranges, bananas, and tortillas. Okay. What else do I have? Peanut butter. Can you make me a menu for tomorrow's meals? Okay, so I don't want to go shopping. Oh, I should have told him I had eggs. Well, so this is nice. It's not only telling me what to make, but how to do it. I see. So we're using up our chicken here, lunch and dinner. Okay, so that's nice. Okay, very easy to do. So I'll even ask. I'll just tell them I forgot to say I have eggs. Let's see if if you see, I didn't even tell them add eggs to the mix, right? I just said I forgot to have eggs. So they're really good at this. Oh, this sounds better. This sounds better. I like that breakfast. Okay, so those were examples, sort of somewhat hypothetical examples. But now I want to give you, let's go to our next page here. I have more examples, and these are going to be quite different. The examples that you see. Go ahead, Sheena.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So you have these three examples on your handout. This one about the Apple script is a fourth one that I want you to see. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to save us time, since you've already seen me type. These are fairly long questions. I'm going to copy the text out of these and paste it myself. So here I'm going to copy this text. I'm going to ask it to write me an Apple script. All right, so here I go. So I'm going to paste that in, just little Command V. Okay, so I hit return. Wow, here it goes. Now, if you've ever done any Apple script, you know this is real Apple script, and I could even tell it to make it better. But so, you know, with Apple script, which I do a lot, there are certain things that I don't do very often, and I forget how to do it. So it's nice to have a little help. And here they're going to tell me how this works. Wow. So I'm going to ask it here to explain how this works line by line. Now, we're not going to go through the whole line. I'm going to stop it, but I want you to see that they'll explain this to you. They're telling you what's going on in that line. Then they're telling us what's going on in this line and that line. So, you know, you're not going to get this kind of help by hitting Google and doing a search. You might luck out and find something about writing an Apple script to save mail messages. Basically, this is going to scrape the attachments off and put them in a folder. It's actually something I needed to do. So, but you're not going to find that pre-done for you with Google. So I'll stop this now, but you get the idea. And to have it be able to explain it to me is quite nice. So it's very patient, and it'll learn things. It'll teach you things. So here's a real thing. I have a friend who's a doctor. He's a surgeon, and he does lots of burn patient surgeries. And so he wanted to know about the leading synthetic skin substitutes, because sometimes you can't get enough natural skin. And so rather than spend a day doing research back and forth with Google, he asked it this question, and he got this answer. Or he got an answer like this. If he asked it again right now, he'd get a slightly different answer, because it's generated, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here we have advantages and disadvantages of this thing called integradermal regeneration template. Here's one called BioBrain. So now what the doctor can do is he can go research these things further on his own. This is just a starting point, but it's a great starting point. It's the sort of thing it's a roadmap for him to go do the rest of the work. So now I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to follow up on this, because really the key again is to not worry about getting your question posed perfectly the first time. In fact, they don't even call it a question. What they call it is a prompt. So we're prompting down here. I'm going to say, please provide a list of URLs for further research on this topic.
So, Christian, are all these prompts saved so that you can come back to them?
Yes, that's an excellent question, as usual, Sheena. If we scroll back up here, if I take this all the way back to the beginning here, way up here, you see, here's my prompt about, I forgot to say I have eggs. Here's my prompt about the pantry. Here's my prompt about suggested durations. And that's all here in these chats on the left. If I went through and looked at different ones, you would see things that I was talking about before. It's all saved automatically. Now, if I want to throw one away, like here, I could, if I don't want to read about the Middle East conflict explained, I could click on this and hit the little trash can and it would go, okay? So, okay, let me see my answer here. I've got it, I guess I stopped my answer. Let's ask it again. So how nice is this? Here's an article I can read. Here's another article I can read. Here's another article I can read. And so, wow. Okay, let me see if there's anything from the Mayo Clinic.
While you're doing that, I just want to say you have a lot of questions. So I hope you leave enough time for questions.
How long do we have?
You have
How much more time?
You really have like 20 minutes.
Good, we're almost done. We're almost done with...
less than 20 minutes.
Okay, good. All right, so we're gonna do one more thing here. So this is nice like this. You see, we've got some places to go and read, and I asked it for Mayo Clinic articles, they got them. Here's someone who's applying for a job and wants a cover letter. Okay, so let's make a cover letter. Okay. And there it is. So sometimes these kinds of letters are the things that act as like huge hurdles for people. They just aren't good at writing about themselves. And what they're good at is editing someone else's work. So there's this saying about everyone's an art critic, but no one knows how to paint. So that's sort of this, here's this letter and you say, you know what, I can do this. Okay, so I want to do one more thing that it's really good at, and you've been seeing, I've been popping up this article here about, I'm going to bring up ESPN here, and I want to show you how ChatGPT is very, very good at summarizing an article. So I'm going to say, let's look at this article here. I'm going to do what we like to do so much is we're going to go to the reader view like this. Okay, so here's all this text. I want to know about this article, but I don't want to read it because I don't have time. I've got a class to teach. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy this text. And I'm going to put this away. And I'm going to come back here to ChatGPT. I'm going to ask it to please summarize this article. And I'll put this in quotes. I don't know if I need to, but I'm going to do it. Okay, so this is look how long the article is, right? That's the article. And my answer is that's it, okay? So that's useful to me. That's really nice. That saved me a lot of time. All right, let's move forward. We're almost through, and then we'll get to those questions, okay? We saw these things. We didn't write the letter of recommendation for Zach trying to get into college, but you could. So now remember, what do we need to remember from this? That it's free. Now, I did show you this thing called MacGPT. What's nice about it is that it's always accessible without you having to go to a web page, but it's still accessing the same stuff and it's still free. Okay, you could pay for MacGPT, but you don't need to pay for ChatGPT. So remember to follow up, chat. Okay, don't feel bad about asking it to do more work. And also remember that what you learn here today is just a starting point. It's going to be different tomorrow. So keep your eyes out for it. Now, the last thing is for further study. Bing has a chat bot that's based on OpenAI. So if you use the Bing search service, as opposed to the Google search service, you can use OpenAI there. Google, of course, has responded with something called Bard. These are links. If you click on these things, they'll take you to the right place. So I'll just leave that there for you since you've got the handout. But it's a different web page than the regular Google. You can also, that was a mistake. You can also, let me go back here to my presentation. Okay, you can also use an image creator from Bing, which would help you make an image. So we've been working with text, but you can do pictures. So I asked it, this is what I asked it for. I asked it for a penguin made from smoothly curved pieces of colored paper. They made me this picture. I asked it for 4 poker playing goldfish. They made me this picture. Actually, they made me 4 of each. I could pick the one I liked. If I didn't like any of them, I could ask it again. So this Bing's image creator, again, I've got a link for you. You click the button and it takes you there. Midjourney is one of the more famous photographic image creators, and it's not free. I didn't provide a link to it, but you can look it up. And DALL-E is also not free. It's also one of the big boys in image creation. So you can ask it to make me a still life picture with an iPhone and a basket of fruit, and they'll do it. But I mean, Bing's image creator will do that too, but this can make it super photographic. Okay, that is what we call the end. So now I'm ready for questions. Let's do it.
Okay, we're going to try to get as many questions in as possible. Melissa, you're first. Thomas, you're next. Mary, you're after Thomas. Melissa, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good presentation, Christian. What we're looking at on the screen shows a sidebar with black and then text. Is that your
These are my
previous stuff,
yeah,
or is that from other users?
No, this is mine. Here, let's look at one that I did.
I think the Excel versus numbers is a clue.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah. So up here, I was asking way up here at the beginning something about what's a better spreadsheet, Excel or numbers, and they wrote. So you can you can organize things here. And if I made a new one, like right now we're up to, I have these. If I did one more like this, new chat, I'm going to say write a song about the iPhone. And you see it's made a new chat here, and it's going to, it's something I can throw away. It will name it automatically for us. Wow, I got a song.
Fabulous.
Okay, yes, that's a good question. This is your history, and it goes back as far as you want it to go. You see, this is the last 30 days, and then here's the last week, and here's yesterday, and here's today. Okay, all right, next, let's keep it moving.
Thomas, could you please unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yes. How is this different than plagiarism, and who's checking it?
Well, I'm not sure that anybody's checking it. This is a tricky point, because it's like, let's say they're drawing upon information from my website. Well, I don't get anything out of that. There's no attribution. There's no link back to my site. So it's really quite disruptive in the economic model that the internet's using, which is basically ads pay for everything. There are no ads. So that's this is sort of a problem. It's not exactly plagiarism, because it's certainly not word for word. But so I think that part's okay. But of course, if you were a college student, you're using it to write your papers, you're not learning very much. So this has to be used with with care. So I don't have a really good answer for you. And this is, I mean, what the question you ask is sort of the question, is how do we kind of keep a lid on this? And nobody really knows yet. And this is why people are concerned. Good question. At least you'll know now how easy it is to do, and that you shouldn't believe everything that you see has been written by a human. Let's put it like that. And if you remember my picture of the poker playing goldfish, you should remember that, I didn't paint that. That was just push a few buttons. So it's a tricky question. All right, I'm going to have to move on to the next one, though. That one, I don't really have an answer. Nobody has the answer.
Thank you, Thomas. Mary, you're next. John Prescott, you're after Mary, then Hank, then Clarence. Mary, go ahead.
Okay. Christian, thank you for your presentation. It's great as usual. along the same lines of the last question, I've been reading that companies are starting to rattle about wanting to charge these AI companies for mining their data.
Of course they are. Everybody wants to get paid. And Google's the one that worries the most because, you notice we didn't get any ads. Google didn't get any money for placing those ads. So everyone wants to find a way to get paid. I don't know how this is going to work. This is early days. So, stay tuned. That's all I can say. It's,
Okay.
you know a little bit more about it now. So now you can see how it works and how disruptive it really is already.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Mary. John, you're up.
Yeah, thanks, Christian. Great presentation. It seems to me that you get quite long answers, even to fairly short, pithy questions.
Yes.
Is there any way of limiting the answers before it starts answering?
You can ask it. You can say like this. Like I asked it to write me a song. It gave me a long one, right? I'll say, write me a short song about the iPhone. And I'll say 2 verses and a chorus. So this should be shorter. You can also tell it when it writes something, as you remember my article about the basketball, and I summarized it. I can ask it to I can simply say make it shorter. So that is an option. There are ways to kind of give ChatGPT a little bit of a personality where you want it to be a little bit more brief. If you want really brief, you can look at Google's Bard. They're super brief. They've got nothing flowery at all there. But you see, this answer was shorter. This one was quite a bit longer. So yeah, that's how you do it. You just ask it to make it shorter.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Okay, thank you, John. Hank, you're next.
Christian, great presentation. I noticed while you were presenting that a web page kept popping up for the 76ers. And
Yes.
This is the same problem I've had when I've been typing emails in Mail app. I will be typing and looking down at the keyboard, and lo and behold, Safari will pop up, and my typing will be for naught.
Yes.
And what is going on? This is since I upgraded to Ventura on my iMac 27.
Yeah, well, that's me too. I think what was happening today, why we kept seeing the ESPN page about the 76ers, was that I had it down here in the dock like this, and I was minimized there so that I could get to it again to do that one example. And I think because they were showing a video on it, and when that video changed, I think that might have triggered that the page loaded. I think it's a bug. It's not, I certainly didn't want that to happen. So
I noticed that I put stage management. I'm sorry.
Can we please get back on topic?
Yep.
Thank you, Hank, but I appreciate that's on topic.
Yep. Right.
All right. Clarence, you're next. Jill, you're up after Clarence, and Victoria, you're next. So Clarence, can you please unmute yourself and ask your question? Jill, can you please unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yes, okay. It was just a comment, really.
Okay.
I was
Go ahead.
suggesting that you ask ChatGPT if it always tells the truth.
it
gives a truthful answer.
That's, he could lie about telling you the truth. So that's kind of awkward.
His mouth is moving. Is that it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We do have some questions, so if you could keep that short, it would be appreciated. Okay. Jill, do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, I can't remember which one now. I started off with it could be sensorial or not. I suppose it could if the information it gets doesn't allow it to answer some questions, then it's sensorial, isn't it?
Well, I'm not sure I know what you mean.
Can it censor itself?
Can it censor? Oh, can it? Yeah,
Yes.
it does censor things. If you ask it, well, I've never done this, of course, but if you ask it something that's deemed inappropriate, they will simply tell you inappropriate. Like if you asked for, I don't know, if you asked for the best way to rob a bank or something, I think they probably would not answer you. I'm sure you can imagine worse things to ask.
The other about music, it's obviously operating with language, but somebody, Ed, I believe, has given me a link to the possibility of it being used to writing music as well.
That's true. You can here in ChatGPT, we're not going to be writing music, but AI in general can. It knows what music sounds like from different artists, and there's characteristics to it, and so they can generate songs that sound like they might have come from a particular artist. It's already happening. So yeah, that's not a ChatGPT thing, but that is an AI thing, and it's happening already.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jill. Victoria Herring, you're next with your question, and Betsy, you're after Victoria.
Yeah, I think I had a question as to what the utility was or why you would want to get MacGPT if it costs as opposed to the regular ChatGPT. And then I did do a little bit of online stuff and found it there. So the next question becomes, there's a lot of, there's a big issue about whether or not you should download apps from the web versus getting them from the App Store. And so I guess that was part of my concern too.
Well, okay, the Mac GPT is nice because it gives you instant access to ChatGPT up here in the menu bar.
Mm-hmm.
And otherwise you have to go to a web page to do it. It also allows you to use a faster version of ChatGPT without paying $20 a month, which Upgrade to Plus would do.
Okay.
It also gives you a hotkey to bring this box up. Now, I just put this on yesterday or the day before, so I haven't used it much. But it is shareware, which means you can pay what you want to pay for Mac GPT, and you can start out with $0. And if you like it, you can go back and give someone $5.
Okay.
So I think it's worth playing with. But you don't need to pay to use ChatGPT.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Frank, can you please unmute yourself and ask your question? Frank's question is, you asked ChatGPT to do 7 social media postings focused on real estate. It gave you 7. Can you save them and then recall them and modify them?
Sure, of course. I can go, here we were in this chat. I'm going to go back up here and we will find our, you can see why I don't want to do it all in one chat, but I kind of did. Here's our talk, and that was our talk 2. Where's my, here we go. So yeah, so I can hit this button here. I can copy it like this, and I can get all this stuff. I could drag through it like this and copy it too if I want. Yeah, absolutely. So it's there. It's gonna remain in this sidebar. Even if I come back tomorrow or next week, it'll be there. Good question. Okay.
Okay, and Betsy Kramer has a question. Are there learning resources that you can recommend for ChatGPT?
I don't know of any I'd recommend, but I would recommend getting an account and playing with it, so you learn how it works a little bit, and then keep your eyes open.
I certainly can imagine law enforcement inside ChatGPT right about now. Okay. All right. Anyone with a question? There's a lot of commentary in the chat pro and con, please save your chat so that you can see some of the responses that people have. And
Yes, I do have
ahead.
a quick question.
Go ahead.
Is there a chat available out there that'll give me more current data than up to whatever it was in 2021?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I would try Google's Bard, which, but I don't know how new their stuff is. But I know that ChatGPT is trying to catch up. So, by the way, this was, you see, I asked ChatGPT, how can I learn more about ChatGPT? And here you go. Okay. Here you go.
So you say it's trying to catch up, but it's still in essence mining data that's on the web. So there is updated data on the web. So why can't it access that updated information now, do you think?
I think they feed it to it. I don't think it actually goes out and mines it. I think it's I think it was done with the help of people. So I'm not sure about that, but of course it took them a year to fully digest what they fed it. So I have a feeling it's always going to be a little bit behind, but I don't know. They say they're trying. I'll just ask, when will you be up to date?
I get it. Melissa, do you have another question?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead, please.
The whole chat response seems to be line by line text. Is that really to make us feel comfortable as people, as opposed to just dumping all the text in a big text box all at once?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I don't know. I until you asked, I thought that it was writing it as quickly as they could. It is generating it, right? So, and they're having to guess about what makes good English too. They also, by the way, they can do other languages, but I don't think they fully form the answer and hold it back, but you might be right.
Interesting. All right. Thank you, Melissa, for that question. Frank, did you get your question answered? Your mic is open, Frank. If you are talking, we cannot hear you.
Yes, yes, thank you.
We hear you now. Okay, thank you very much. All right, with that, anything else you want to add? We have 2 minutes left, Christian.
Wow.
Be careful.
Yeah, right. Let's see. Well, remember that you can copy things here, and you can rate the answers thumbs up and thumbs down. So if you want to tell that you like something, I can say, I hope you get to be a current soon. Okay. It all adds up. Okay, and so you can see the little thumbs up I gave it. So now I can no longer thumbs down it. I can also edit a question here. I can also throw away things. So if I want to come in here and get rid of it, I hit the trash can and it's gone. So use this part over here. Don't pay for anything except for maybe MacGPT, and just play. And that way you'll just be better prepared for the world that's coming, which is possibly fake. So
and I do want to say that's Italy has banned ChatGPT from use.
Really?
Yes, and someone in Australia is actually suing them for a generated report that had misinformation that actually accused them or said that they were a felon when actually they were a whistleblower. So there's a lot of interesting things coming down the pike with this.
Right. And so today was meant to be an overview, an introduction, so that you can at least have a better conversation about ChatGPT when your friends are asking you about it. or you're reading about it, at least you'll know what it is. And you'll know that you can use it for good. You can know that bad guys are using it for bad, and that mistakes are made even by people who aren't so bad. But that's what this class was about. And hopefully that's what you got.
All right. I do want to thank you, Christian, for such an amazing and wonderful presentation. Can everyone please unmute their mic and thank Christian for today?
Thank you.
Excellent job.
Thank you, Christian.
Great job.
Fantastic presentation.
Fabulous. Just fabulous.
Thank you.
Awesome.
It was wonderful and scary.
Great job.
Yeah.
Very, very much so.
So much.
All right.
Looking
Hector, do
forward
you
to
have
the
anything?
follow-up.
Wonderful presentation, so clear.
Absolutely, thank you.
sweating.
Thank you. Hector, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yes, thank you all very much for being part of this great presentation. I think we all learned a lot, and it's really interesting where we will be going from here on. I used the word unfathomable the other day, describing the horizon AI, which is opening up for AI. Again, Christian, thank you very, very much. You did a wonderful job as always. We really appreciate you doing that for us. Thank you, audience. Thank you, Sheeta. You excelled as moderator. And we will all see you a week from today, where I think Mike Matthews will talk to us about the iPhone and some special tips. So with that, I will send you all home, and thank you again for joining us today. Appreciate it.
All right, everyone, be well. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.